Hello class 9. Today we are going to start chapter 9 revision lesson already done in class, that is Tsar Alexander II's reform. There we will see what were the reform that he introduced. So we will revise the reforms of Tsar Alexander II. So we see that Tsar Alexander II became the ruler of Russia after his father Nicholas I, and we know that Nicholas I was a very autocratic ruler, and the Crimean War started during his reign. So this Crimean War has affected Russia in a very bad manner, and Russia had suffered loss due to this Crimean War. So after coming to power, Tsar Alexander introduced many reforms, and the most important reform introduced by Tsar Alexander I was to stop the Crimean War. So this stopping of Crimean War saved Russia. We know that France and Russia was involved in this Crimean War, and this war was continuing for many years, and there we see that for 2 years, from 54 to 56, when this war was continuing, the Russian soldiers were devastated. Their morale was completely broken. So Alexander decided to stop this war, and he signed the peace treaty to stop the Crimean War. He signed the Paris Peace Treaty. Remember this, he signed the Treaty of Paris. Name of this treaty you should remember. Treaty of Paris was signed by Alexander, and by this treaty the Crimean War came to an end, and thus Russia was saved from a debacle, from a devastation. Now after this also we see that he introduced many democratic reform. He was a Tsar. We know that Tsarist rule is an autocratic rule, but we see that the Tsar Alexander introduced many democratic reform. Though he introduced many democratic reforms, he did not believe in the democratic form of government. So while he is introducing some reforms which are democratic, but he is keeping the royal right intact. So he kept the royal rights intact, that is the royal power. Royal power was maintained, royal rights were kept intact, but his reforms were democratic. Like he introduced the reforms where we see that the censorship on press was lifted. Previously, during his father's rule, during Nicholas' rule, there was censorship of press. That is, press could not publish anything and everything that they want. The press published only those things which were approved by the government. But now we see that the censorship on the press was lifted by the reform of Alexander, and also we see he developed the education system. Education system improved under his rule. Nicholas has curbed the education system, tried to control the education system, but during Tsar Alexander's rule, education improved a lot in Russia. Also, we see that communication system developed. Communication system also developed during the rule of Tsar Alexander II. And as the communication system developed, trade and commerce also developed. Trade and commerce also developing during this time. So what we see that he did many reforms which actually helped Russia to raise its status, raise its position in the world. Another important reform of Tsar Alexander was that he released the Decembrists. The Decembrists were those people who started the rebellion in Russia during Nicholas I, and all these people were imprisoned. But Tsar Alexander, when he came to power, he freed them. He released the Decembrists. Remember to mention this in your answer, that he freed the Decembrists. And apart from that, we see that he made the laws which were there for trade and commerce. He made easy laws for trade and commerce. Laws were not strict. so that trade and commerce can develop. So trade and commerce also developed in Russia under his rule. So what we see is that Tsar Alexander passed many reforms which were good for Russia, and these reforms were quite democratic, but he kept the royal power intact. Apart from these, the most important reform of Tsar Alexander was, we'll see that the passing of the Emancipation Statute. This was the most, or the signing we can say, rather than passing, we should say signing of the Emancipation Statute. This was the most important reform of Tsar Alexander I. The signing of the Emancipation Statute. Now, what happened by the Emancipation Statute? By the Emancipation Statute, the serfs were freed. Freedom of serf. Serf means the peasant. Previously, we see that in Russia, peasants were the bonded labor. They were the private property of the landowners. But under Tsar Alexander's rule, we see that the Emancipation Statute was signed. And after the signing of the Emancipation Statute, we see that the serfs were freed. Serfs became free people. So as this reform was passed, which made the serfs free, due to this, we see Alexander came to be known as Tsar the Liberator. Tsar the Liberator. So what we can get in short question, that why Alexander, who was called Tsar the Liberator, and why, who was called, you can see that Tsar Alexander was called Tsar the Liberator. Why was he called the Tsar the Liberator? Because of his signing of the document, or the document which is known as the Emancipation Statute, and by signing of this document he freed the serf. Due to giving, as he gave freedom to the serf and he destroyed the system of serfdom in Russia, he was known as Tsar the Liberator. So these were the reforms of Tsar Alexander II, which are very important. After this, we will move on to the Emancipation Statute. That is, what is the Emancipation Statute and how it was implemented, that we should see, that how the Emancipation Statute was implemented and what is the Emancipation Statute. So we see that the Emancipation Statute was a document of 360 pages. This is very important because it raised the position of Russia all over the world. When all over the world this medieval system of serfdom was abolished, but in modern period also in Russia, even during the modern period, this system of serfdom was continuing. So this document is very important because Russia's status was declining all over the world. But by signing this document of 360 pages, Tsar Alexander I abolished the system of Russia. So by the Emancipation Statute, we see that serfdom was abolished in Russia. Serfdom was the system where the peasants were the bonded labor and they were the private property. They were treated like a property of the landowner. So serfdom was abolished by the Emancipation Statute, and it was signed in 1861 in the month of March. In March 1861, the Emancipation Statute was signed, and by this document, Russian serfdom came to an end. This was the Emancipation Statute. Now, what was the documents? What was mentioned in the documents of the Emancipation Statute, or what were the characteristics of the Emancipation Statute? All 360 pages documents we cannot, of course, discuss, but the major part of the Emancipation Statute, we should know that what is said here, that it was said that the landowner's land would be divided equally among the peasants. So the land was taken from the landowners and it was equally distributed among the peasants. And we see that the government gave the compensation for the land. So from the government treasury, money was given to the landowner on behalf of the peasants. And it was said that the peasants will give this money back to the government in 49 yearly installments. So this was not a pressure on the peasants because they can give the money for a long period of time, 49 installments. So this was quite easy for the peasants, and the peasants were very much accepted this system. And this system was conducted through the village communes, the head of the villages like me and Obstina. They were the village communes, and through these village communes this land distribution was done. The land is taken away from the landlords and distributed to the peasants. This thing was done through the Miran Obstinas, and this collection of money from the peasants every year, that was also done through the Miran Obstina. So this system initially was very good, but ultimately it did not work very well, because this document of 360 pages was not easy to be understood by the peasant class. Whatever it is, we see that this Emancipation Statute raised the position of Russia and gave the title of Tsar the Liberator to Alexander the Great. So we will prepare the reforms of Alexander and what was the Emancipation Statute and what are the characteristics of Emancipation Statutes that you have to prepare. Thank you.